welcome back, everybody. Today, I want to talk about training for speed in the weight room. And to be honest, where I see so many people go wrong is people think that it's like bodybuilding, where they need to pack on as much muscle and as much size as they can. And the reason why so many people think that that works is because it actually does up until a certain point. For example, like in high school athletes, pretty much what they're so concerned about most of the time is packing on as much muscle as they can, which up until a certain point works. The problem is where so many people go is they try to get so overly huge and get so much volume size in their muscles that it ends up slowing them down for speed purposes only. So if you're a football guy, like a wide receiver, running back, something like that, a sprinter, or I don't know, maybe a basketball player, your goal is going to want to be actually like, I don't want to say less size, but less size than a bodybuilder and more strength per body weight size, basically. Um, and how to basically avoid this is to not train like extremely high repetitions, train more like in a speed based way. Don't try not to overeat like while in the session, and not in the session, but like in the period of time where you're training. Like, don't eat more so much over your maintenance that you're going to gain a lot of weight, because in the long run that's going to slow you down. If you're a lineman, or if you're a hockey player or something where it's better to be big, then sure, that's awesome. But for speed purposes only, you want to try to not really overeat to the point where you're like it's insanely huge. And also undereating. Also, you don't want to undereat to the point where you're losing weight rapidly and losing a lot of the power. So it's kind of like the happy medium. It's kind of like the happy medium. I was trying to think of something, a metaphor, but I forgot what I was gonna say. Um, Two books that I've read that have given me a tremendous amount of thinking and knowledge about speed are The Theory and Methodology of Training, and also Triphasic Training by Cal Dietz, who is a world-renowned coach at the University of Minnesota. Um, so the main idea of what I want to talk about today is training general versus training specific. So for sprinters, I'm a sprinter. My goal is to try to train as general as I can in the off season, in the summer months and in the winter months, get as strong as possible without getting like a bodybuilder. Get really strong. Don't train too specific. But what I mean by when I say training specific is training like sport specific. So I'm a sprinter. I sprint like anywhere from 11 to 23, 22 seconds. So training specifically would be very fast movements, where training generals like things like bench press, things like squatting, things that are going to improve your general strength and overall development. You want to do those type of thing. You want to focus on that type of things. Um, like in the off season, in the summer months, early summer, late summer, all the way up into the winter. And what the idea is, what you want to do is, as you transition to season, you want to shift into a more specific mode where you're training. Now you're strong. You're a strong, robust athlete. Now you want to translate that into your sport. So for speed, you want to get as strong as possible. And then for your sport, whether it be football, whether it be track, basketball, you want to use that training, use that strength, and translate it to what you need for your specific sport. Basketball, it's more jumping speed. Football, it's more short acceleration speed. Where in sprinting, it's pretty much everything. It's acceleration, top end speed, holding that speed, endurance. That's where in season is where you translate the general strength into this specific strength. One big thing for athletes is that they should, like, when being specific, say you're doing a hang clean like in season, what you want to do is you want to train for the allotted amount of time that you are doing like your event in your sport. So for example, just for a lineman, their average like time per play is around 6 seconds. So they're not going to want to lift any weights for more than 6 seconds, if that makes sense. So like the ball snapped, they run, try to block or whatever they do. To be honest, I'm kind of ignorant. I don't really know. And then the play's over like that. So they don't want to train for much more than 6 seconds because they're going to be using different energy systems than what they're going to be using specifically in their game, where like sprinters and other types of runners will want to tap into the various different types of energy systems so that they're trained up in a way so that they are used most maximally in their actual event. So like in 100-meter, you use the first energy system, which lasts for anywhere from 0 to 6 seconds, and then you even transition into a second energy system, which goes from anywhere from 6 seconds to the 2 minute mark. And then anything beyond 2 minute mark is endurance. That it's completely aerobic and it completely depends on oxygen intake. That's basically all. Thank you for listening.